Hey everyone, welcome back to Advancio Talks. This is your host, Carlos Ponce, and we're super excited to kick off a brand new season with all of you. So if you're new here, welcome to the show, and if you're a returning listener and or viewer, thanks for sticking with us. You are awesome. So for those joining us, Adventure Talks is where we dive deep into the tech world with some seriously smart people. So we're talking CTOs, industry experts, and the brilliant minds shaping the future of technology. So this season, we've got some incredible conversations lined up that'll make you think and definitely walk away with something new. So we're covering everything from the latest industry trends to those aha moments that change how we think about tech. This season, we'll be bringing you conversations specifically with the luminaries that took part in the EY World Entrepreneur of the Year 2024. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's get this conversation started. Trust me, you won't want to miss what we've got in store for you this season. So let's dive in. So the first thing I want to do is I want to welcome our guest, a featured guest, Janan Knust. He is the CEO of klog.co. And well, I'm going to pass on the mic to him to introduce himself, and then we'll take it from there. Janan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Carlos, for the invitation. I'm so happy to be part of this new season of Advancio. I'm a fan, and I'm really excited to be part of what you're building. So congratulations on that, and I hope I can put a little bit of, how we say in Spanish, un granito de arena, a little grain on the big ocean of sand that we have in this amazing world of technology. So let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Well, first of all, thank you again. Before we jump into the whole EY topic and all that and your experience with it, tell us and the viewers a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about your background, where you come from, where you're based. Anything you want to say about yourself and your experience and your background to the audience, please. Introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Janan, and you're one of the few people that can pronounce it well. So congrats on that. It's a very difficult name. My mother is from Morocco. My father is from Germany. I was born in Israel. I have 4 kids, married to a Bolivian girl, and I lived in 13 different countries. So I'm a citizen of the world. I was going to be a soccer player when I was very young, and I struggled with studying, with school. So I ended up studying hotel management in Switzerland, and that brought me to travel the world and learn a little bit about service and understanding a little bit what the other wants. And in that regard, 13 years ago, I came back to Chile. This is where I am now. This is our office in Chile. And I started Klog. Klog is a company that streamlines the supply chain. We move cargo from point A to point B. And early on my days, I realized that it's a very boring business, a freight forwarding business. It's a very boring, very old, pen and paper. And with a lot of curiosity, I came to this business to understand that there is a lot of talent out there that can, change through understanding a little bit of the industry and understanding that there are new technologies that are coming along. And we started Klog trying to, simplify the world of logistics. It's a very, very complex. For anyone listening, to move a container from point A to point B has many, many players involved, from custom brokerage, from shipping lines, airlines, warehouses, shipping ports, terminals, etc., etc., etc. And everyone wants to grab a little bit of it. And everyone communicates through emails, pen and paper. And we said, why? I said, why? Because I was coming from a completely different industry. And this is how Klog started. And of course, through an amazing team of people, we grew the company to almost $100 million in sales, and never raised money until the point that last year got awarded the World Entrepreneur of the Year, and as well being showcased by Harvard as well. Harvard wrote a case study on our company, on our growth, and our culture. So I'm super excited to, not only be here, but to be able to share our journey to the viewers.
Great. I don't know why you say that it's a boring business, and that sounds pretty.
No, the old business is a boring business,
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on. So, first of all, congratulations on being selected, as one of the EY World Entrepreneur of the Year, invitee or participant in 2024. So, let's start there, right? Can you take us back to the moment you found out that you were invited to participate in this prestigious global program?
When EY calls you out of the blue, in which you have zero relationship with them, and your phone rings, and of course you know who is the president of EY in the region. If you are involved in business and you're involved in technology, you know who the president of EY is. And when the phone rings and it tells you I'm XYZ from EY, the first thing that I thought is like, what did I do wrong? Am I going to jail? Did I evade the taxes? I started to sweat. And the news was, Janan, you've been selected to be part of the World Entrepreneurs. You're the Entrepreneur of the Year in Chile. And of course, the first thing that came to my mind was, going back to the office right there. We have 200 people behind me, and I said, guys, we just got selected to be, part of the World Entrepreneurs of the Year. We are Entrepreneur of the Year in Chile. We should feel very proud. I was on the phone screaming, walking with a very long office, walking down and and talking to him at the same time. And he's like, Janan, relax.
Right.
So those were the first moments. First, I was scared because I didn't know that. I thought I did something wrong because I had zero relationship with EY. And second, it was excitement, but not necessarily for me. Of course, you get excited because you get to represent, a lot of people behind you. But mainly, I wanted to share that with the team. It was, and I did it live with them, so it was amazing.
That was great. That's a great story. And what did it mean for you, personally and professionally, to be recognized among these, let's call it, elite group of visionary entrepreneurs?
It's not. I mean, I never saw it it's a journey. It's not. And for me, success or to selective or not selective is something that is very. Today you're here, tomorrow you're there. You can feel that this is, of course, it's a recognition, and when people recognize you, okay, fine. But at that very moment as well, you need to understand that you're nothing. And I think this is how I took it. I got very excited, and it was like, guys, you should feel proud. This is the Oscars of entrepreneurship in the world. And of course, I knew that what the World Entrepreneur competition was. But at the same time, when I hung up the phone, I said, you know what? As I am very happy, tomorrow this can end. And then a shower of humbleness came to me to say, you should really stay on the ground and understand that in a moment you are the World Entrepreneur of the Year, and in another moment a client doesn't pay you, your best employee quits. God not permit, there is something related to health. So to live with this dichotomy of, you can be really up there, and at the same time you are nothing. I think is what drives me. So so this is a little bit how I took it.
Great, yeah, I can totally feel you. The famous the trout and the crest. Sometimes that flow is that's where really the learning lessons are, right? You're up here, then you're down here, and then you meet in the middle at some point, and then you kind of go back to business, and it's a learning process, I assume, right? So for our listeners who might not be familiar with the EY World Entrepreneur Program, can you briefly walk us through what the experience was like? I mean, what does it even take to be considered for the roster?
Well, I know about Chile. I don't know how. I mean, I know it's a very, as you said, it's a very difficult process in terms of um, what you've achieved in terms of growth of your business, what you've achieved
Mhm.
in terms of disruption of the business, what you've achieved in terms of social impact as well. So those three
Mhm.
things are what the judges look up. I mean, in Chile, it was very interesting because it was the first time I heard after, of
Mhm.
course, that Kellogg was chosen in unanimity. How do you call it? Like
Unanimity.
unanimity.
Uh-huh.
There is 12 judges from different sectors, universities, banks, other entrepreneurs, etc., 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 newspapers. And it was the first time that we got chosen as the 12 judges saying, you know what, we should really be represented by Kellogg in this competition.
Mhm.
And when I heard that, I mean, I said, wow. And then I asked again. It's like, but why? And there was something, position yourselves as a company that put in the center not the success, not by how much you make, but how much you give. And I think this is the
Mhm.
key for me on and how I've run this company and the vision that I have for the business in general. And this is what I wanted to convey in Monaco
Right.
when of course, when they take you to Monaco, and I can talk about that. Like, you are invited to one of the most prestigious hotels in the world, in the most prestigious cities in the world,
Mhm.
and you're in Monaco with another 50 world entrepreneurs, everyone with an amazing story, better than the other. So you get to participate and network with such amazing people. So apart from that, you you feel overwhelmed. And I said, I need to put like something, like if I've been blessed already by being there, how do
Mhm.
I contribute? And when I asked the judges, or some of the people that were in the judging room, like, why me, like, why Caleb? And they said, you've changed a paradigm on how to do business. And since the very beginning, I really had a very clear mind that you're not successful because of the amount of money you have in your bank, or how many employees, or how many prices you have. What about we measure success on how much we give? How much we measure
Mhm.
success on how many people we've thought? How many how can I measure success in terms of not how much I have and how much I contributing? And since day one, this is how I built the company, and this is how I've trained people, and this is how others have trained others. And today we have achieved success because we are sure that we are a
Mhm.
company of givers. And again, this is Kellogg is not an ONG. It's a profitable
Okay.
company that works for profit, but in our core, in every sense of the way, we think that what are we doing for the other, and it can go for clients, it can go for our teammates, it can go, what do we do with the extra money we have in our bank account? So all of those things were things that I said, going back to your question. It's interesting to say, what are you going to contribute to these amazing entrepreneurs that are, in the Oscars of entrepreneurship. So this is a little bit the how do you
Mhm.
say, the idea behind it.
I love it. Love it. Yeah, so it's what I would call the ethos of the company, right? It's like
Right.
sort of like a mission-driven company, and I like that. I just love it when I see these companies setting the example for others. So great. Okay, so you've told us a little bit about the journey with the experience with EY. I would like to dive a little bit into something else, like a segue into you as a tech entrepreneur. So I have a question for you. How do you balance, let's say, innovation with practical business needs? In other words, what's your approach to building sustainable tech solutions, for example?
Great question. Great question. And for a very thorough business that is in that position, like to move a container from point A to point B, like we physically move the containers. We speak to real clients that have real needs that move real things. And we need to coordinate those things for them not to become a problem and be kind of invisible. So when everything is invisible, we're doing our job right. The problem is that there are a lot of things that start to stand out, and those things become problems. And if you only, those problems become money, and that's money that goes to the bottom of the revenue of the revenue of the business, and we are the bad guys of the supply chain. We're the bad guys of the business in a way if things go wrong, but at the same time we don't have much where to handle things in terms of, I don't own the shipping lines, I don't own the ports, I don't own the trucking companies, I don't own custom brokerage, etc., etc. So we are a simple intermediary, but at the same time we deal with real things. The container or the pallet is in the port and is not being released because it doesn't have an XYZ document. So all of those things are super real, and they're super real for clients. We need, how do you put technology into that, and how do you understand deeply that everything in this business is about processes? So you have in one hand very strong processes that if one little piece of the process is not there, you will have a problem, and that problem will eventually become money for our client, or perhaps for us if we are responsible, and that will become from our bottom line. And second, how do I put technology into that? So to play with those two, variants, it's very important, one, to understand your industry, to understand who you're dealing with and how you're dealing with, like what industry I'm about. I need to understand the players. I need to understand if the companies that I'm dealing with, but the stakeholders, the shipping lines, they have APIs. Do they know what an API is? 15 years ago, trust me, it was very difficult to talk to them in terms of technology. So we started very early speaking about those things. So you had to have not only patience, you had to be very resilient to understand and have a very clear vision and understanding that, eventually these guys will understand how important it is to have connectivity, and how important would be not only to have that connectivity in their platforms, but to share them to everyone. And then there's another point, how accurate you are. So that's the industry part. Then you have the clients. The clients are people, normal, like you and me, that are importers or exporters, that they've done the same thing and it has worked for many years. So to take them out of that mindset, it requires not only innovation, it requires to show them that this will make them save time and eventually money. So to understand that, you have to have a special relationship with your clients in terms of understanding that this is something that it will change, and that you need to get on board of these technology improvements that will help you, is very difficult, because some of them until today, because you can build the most amazing technology, but if clients are not using it, you have a big problem. And in this business, clients are very, very, very reticent to move on with technology, because again, they've done it for many, many years. And you don't find, big importers that are 25, 30 years old. They've built it through time. And this is 50, 60-year-old people that, they didn't born with the cell phone.
Right.
Okay. That's the second point. And the third point, your teams, talent. How do you find talent, new talent, that can make all those dreams, all those problems, into technology? That's very difficult, because when you've been doing as well your job 9 to 5 with pen and paper, it's very difficult to ask your team to go, tomorrow you have to use a platform, and not only a platform, you need to create that platform. So to work with those challenges that are very complex in a very different levels, is you need to be very, very conscious of what you do. And I'm going to put another piece of salt into the equation. We did it completely bootstrapped. We didn't raise a single penny from any investor. We have zero money from the bank. So imagine how many times we were about to go bankrupt. And I started the company from scratch. So to have these three things align, the industry, the clients, and the team, going through one direction, which is technology, it's super, super difficult, especially in an industry like ours. So again, for that, you need focus, you need to be resilient, you need to be studying all the time, you need to be not thinking that you're getting out of your comfort zone, you need to be thinking that you're living in the uncomfort zone all the time.
Right.
And you have to have an attitude of, I'm gonna make it, and that's a focus, and that's a vision, and if you're so convinced that this is the only way to go, eventually it will happen. So I need just to be resilient to make it happen and to be alive when this happens.
Right.
That's why I think we've done a good job there.
Absolutely, it seems like it. Well, from what I'm hearing is that what you just told us and the audience as well, that's sort of like a takeaways from your experience, from your journey. Going back specifically to the EY program, the EY program it brings together visionary founders who create long-term value, right? Let me ask you something. What did you learn from being around other entrepreneurs at this level? Any standout moments or conversations you had that you can recall or that you would like to talk about?
I mean, there were many, many standout moments. There is one interesting thing about understanding that you're not alone on your view that, okay, when you achieve certain maturity on the business, when you achieve certain achievements, it's not about money. It's not only about money. So to understand that there is a very deep conscious on every entrepreneur that, we've built things, but then what? Right? And then when you start forcing those conversations, which was something that I wanted to, that was my mission. Like I said, I'm going to force those conversations to scratch the surface and to say, what is deeper? Like it's all about business and how do we think entrepreneurs, we want to change the world. It's really because of our product. Like, do I think literally that I can change the world with moving cargo around? Or having a bike that delivers food? Like, if really we as founders think that we can change the world with one single product, I think we have a big ego. But again, in a very surface level conversations, most of us, we will answer that. But I am sure, and this is something that struck me in a way, and that I found with many very successful people, that when you try to scratch the surface a little bit, there was that deep purpose-driven company behind it. And sometimes it's difficult because, you are in a machine that is a grounding machine of you're like, and it eats you, and you need to be put out of it and that someone ask you the question, and you said, wow, you know what? And I got very, very insightful conversations about that. And sometimes people telling me, you know what? I think I should keep it quiet how much I give or to who I give, but I said, no, we should say it out loud, because some people that are looking at you and are being inspired by you, and you already have a responsibility. And this is the second thing. Like, I realized that people that are in those positions are starting to understand that it's a responsibility. That you build a business and you're in the momentum of building, and you don't know where you are, and suddenly you're taking out of that, and you look back and you say, wow, I've built something powerful. Now what? And then now what I saw in Monaco, that a lot of people said to themselves, I have a responsibility now, so I need to take part, I need to have a voice, I need to take action. And that was super nice. That was beautiful.
Absolutely. Janan, we're coming up on time, and we're usually here for about 30 minutes. So I think we got time for a couple more questions, and I don't want to end the conversation without asking you the following. The first question would be, what trends in technology are you most excited about, and how are they shaping the future of your industry?
You ask difficult questions. I mean, I don't want to sound like everyone else in this era now, these past 6 months, year, to say, AI,
Right.
AI. I'm gonna go through that and past that. This is the moment of processes for any business, and I'm gonna give you a sentence that I will try to cut in parts and answer answer your question with that sentence. This is where we are now. Systematize the predictable to humanize the exceptional. Systematize the predictable to humanize the exceptional. These two parts, let's put the sentence into two parts. Today, everything that we see in every business, and hopefully every successful business, has a process. And if you are conscious enough, you will understand that those processes, with technology and with the right technologies, and today AI plays a super important role, you can systemize everything that is predictable. Everything. Okay? So if A, B, C, D, today, pretty much you can do everything automatic with technology. Now the question is why? That gives me the answer before I started asking the questions to say, what's going to happen with the people? People are getting afraid of what's going to happen with jobs. Like everything's getting super, super efficient. No. We are going to have more time in order to grow our company to a different level, but not through an automatization, through people really caring for people, through, and again, we are in a business where people are important, where goods are moved, and we are not selling software. This is not sold automatically, even though we have a software that is being sold, but it's very complex software, right? And we move containers that is embedded in that software, sort of say, with the information and the technology that it has. So systematize the predictable. It's saying, I understand exactly my business, but why? I understand it because I'm going to put a technology into it that makes it completely automatic, but then I'm going to humanize the exceptional. So every single interaction that I have, I'm going to make it exceptional. I'm going to be able to have my clients, my friends, my stakeholders, whoever, to have such an amazing experience when they're dealing with me or with whoever they deal from my company, that they will remember it. And they will think twice if they change us, or they will think twice if they don't give us that discount that we need. Why? Because we have a lot of time, because the other part is completely systematized. Why? Because we understood it so well that in every single part of the process, we said, here I'm going to put technology, and here I can automatize it, and here there is AI what I need, and here another type of technology or solution. So I believe that companies today don't need to think so much on which technology and how AI needs to make robots calling. I got alone. He left. Something happened. Questions? Finally, someone. There you are back. There you're back.
Yeah, there was a little glitch here. Sorry about
that. So in a way, systematize the predictable to humanize the exceptional is you understanding where you're standing, is you being very conscious on why you're standing there, and understand, and then is the part of what technology I put where. We are not thinking on robots calling customers. We're thinking on robots systematizing the processes that we, after a lot of thought, are saying it goes A, then B, then C. But why? Because we are super, super confident that our people can do much better for themselves in adding value to conversations, in adding value, to solving problems, in adding value to going forward in terms of something that you didn't expected. I'm here for you.
Awesome. That's incredible. All right.
Got a little bit lost. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me? Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, well, this is the beauty about doing live streams is that because they're live, there's always this unpredictability of what's going to happen, right? So, but fortunately, we're still here. We've come up on time, and I would like to ask you to leave our audience with what I call some final words of wisdom. For example, now that you have this incredible experience at EY and this global recognition and all that, what's next for you? What's your legacy? How do you want to be remembered? What would you tell the audience about this?
I think it's too early to be remembered.
Let me rephrase it. How do you want to be remembered as a leader? In your industry?
No, so again, the industry and who I am. There's two important things. Like there is your identity and there is your role. My role today as a leader in logistics is I want to make this business more simple. I want to solve problems for people to have more complex conversations that can add them more value. So this is my role. This is what I really care that, having a conversation on how much the container is or how long it took. This is very basic. And a lot of people in the freight forwarding industry are dealing with those type of conversations. I really want to have more complex conversations because they're more fun, because they require more from you. And so in terms of my role today as a CEO of a company that is trying to disrupt a little bit this industry in terms of logistics, this is my role. This is what I'm doing now, and I hope it creates an impact. Okay, but as an identity on who I am, again. Understanding that you are not a superhuman, a superman, that you need to be humble in terms of understanding that there is someone above you, and that again you have the tools to gain momentum, but that momentum can end in a second, and to be able to live with these two pieces of information or two pieces of papers, as I usually call them, in one saying, I'm nothing, and in the other one saying the world is created for me, at the same exact time, it's who I want to be. And it's very difficult to live with these two pieces of paper when you have so many interactions from the real world coming up to you. So identity-wise, that what I just said, and my role today, I hope that I can simplify a little bit more the logistics world, and through technology and talent, in order for people to have more fun conversations in the workspace.
Thank you so much, Janan. It's been great to have you here on the show.
Thank you.
For those viewers out there who might want to know about Janan's company, you can see the URL right down below on the ticker that's scrolling from side to side on the screen. It's www.klog.co. Simple as that. All right. Well, Janan, it's been a pleasure to have you here in the show. Before we go,
Thank you,
I just want to make a quick announcement, because right here on Advancio Talks, next week we're going to be speaking with another global visionary from the EY experience, and this is going to be with Eric Reimer. He is the CEO and co-chairman of the board at HealthMap Solutions. Right, so that's going to be on June 18th, also on a Wednesday, but it's going to be at 11 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. So stay tuned, folks, and just keep an eye on social media, and just mark your calendars and join us next week for another conversation with a luminary from the EY World Entrepreneur of the year 2024. That being said, Janan, again, thank you so much for having been with us today.
Thank you.
Please stick around, because we're going to be doing a little wrap up. But for the rest of you folks, again, join us next week. Thank you for having joined Advancio Talks. See you next time.